Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome on in. You are here for Asian baseball today. And we always say, hopefully next time we talk to you, we got some extra money in our pocket. Well, I'm very excited because we do have some extra money in our pocket. And you don't have me to thank. No, you have the experts to thank here. Let's bring them in. Our guys, Tokyo Brandon and Adam Trigger. Boys, as we were signing off, I just calculated, hey, if we did a money line parlay with the guys' free best bets here, what would it be? Plus 198. We were getting some love on Twitter from viewers who cashed in. So I, much like them at the top, got to say thank you to my guys right here. And let's say hi to them as well. Brandon, we'll start with you. Let people know what you have loaded up tonight. And also, how are you doing? Because I know you've been running hot, my man.
Yeah, I have. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. So if anyone remembers Bon Scott, that's a nice one from him. It's good to be the king. I'm the number one capper in the last 3 days, the last 7 days, and the last 365 days. So it's been running hot. And I got screwed over the weekend, though, because I'm done betting games. I'm done betting full game money lines on Saturdays and Sundays in the KBO because I got screwed on 2 games. I had LG. They were up 5-2, 5-3, and then they gave up like a 5 spot in the bottom of the 8th, and I lost that one. Hanshin Tigers in the Japanese league also, I had them on the money line. They gave up a 3 spot in the 8th inning and lost their lead, and I lost that bet. But despite losing those, I still went, 7-3 over the weekend. So things are running well, and I have a 5% play tonight. Historically, in lifetime, since I joined WagerTalk 2.5 years ago, I have a 73% winning percentage on my 5% plays, which is number one. So grab my 5% play. It's only $9 because it's $9 Monday.
$9 Monday and a big ticket play loaded for our guy Tokyo Brandon. Trig, you're also running nice, especially in the KBO. 5-1 run you're coming into here on Monday. How are you doing? And you have anything up for $9 Monday?
Yep. So KBO play is up for $9 Monday. 5-1 in the KBO entering today. I'm hitting over 60% in KBO since the beginning of last season and again this season. So that's up for $9 Monday. And I've been pretty hot in MLB as well. But I did money shots with Kelly and Megan this afternoon. Gave out my MLB play. So it's Kansas City Royals plus 1.5. So a little bonus for you there. That's a 4% play for me in Major League Baseball that I tweeted out. So there's the MLB play for free. Royals plus 1.5. And my KBO plays up for $9 at WagerTalk.
How about
That's
that?
Nice
we didn't
sandwich.
even get a standings update yet, Tokyo Brandon, and he's already dropping a free 4%er for the viewers. That's why you tune in here to Asian Baseball Today. Let's start, guys, how we always do a standings update.
That's one of those sandwiches where the bread tastes better than the meat.
There you go.
If you know what I mean.
Get that one in there.
Yeah, more of a fade of the Angels for me, but it's a good spot. So we'll roll with Royals getting the free run.
All right,
I'm talking about Megan
standings
and
update time here on the Korean Baseball Show on Asian Baseball Today. SSG still Sarah at the top, 42 wins. But Kiwoom's keeping it interesting. Right behind, as is LG. We got Kia, KT, Samsung all around that middle. And then we got Doosan, Lotte. But NC Dinos, they're giving some distance in between them and Hanwha. Hanwha with 8 straight losses, guys. I mean, you both kind of saw this coming, kind of going in a bad way. Are the Hanwha Eagles now 4 games below the NC Dinos, which were scraping the bottom of the barrel for the better part of the season here. So things are changing. The landscape is changing. It's getting tight at the top, and we're starting to really see some teams separate themselves in the standings. Adam, I want to start with you. On Monday last week, you switched it up. You had some weather prognosticating you wanted to do, but you're back with some league news, some injury updates that just might affect how people are betting this week's matchups. What do you have for them?
Forgot about the weather. Yeah, it ended up like the rain went away. There was 2 rainouts, and then we never saw the rain last week, which was nice, getting all those games in. Yeah, we're back to talking injuries. Because I think it's important. There's a lot of moving around going on these rosters right now, and I think we're going to see that. So I'll let Brandon respond to this in a second. I think we're about 3 weeks away from the All-Star break in Korea. I think maybe roughly 3 weeks. And a lot of these teams have some decisions to make. A lot of these teams have decisions to make regarding import players, whether they're going to keep guys that are hurt, whether they're going to go in a different direction and try to bring other guys in. So it's going to be really important to monitor what some of these teams do in that regard. I'll start with Hanwha. They've already kind of gotten out in front of it a little bit with, they brought in Jeffrey Ramirez. He's going to make his debut tomorrow. They've got they'll probably bring another pitcher in. I can't remember if they did or not, but Hanwha's got, you look at that, that's nice, but they've got a couple of big omissions right now. Sihwan Ro's been out, Jusuk Ha's been out, and it's just like Hanwha, they just can't get out of their own way with some of these injuries. Now it looks like Ha, he had a total meltdown. Looks like he might be suspended. So, man, I wanted to find a way to jump back in with Hanwha, but they still have so many roster issues that they're probably a fade till further notice. The one that, we'll talk about more later in the show, KT Wiz, they're going to get Wes Benjamin back this week. That's a big deal. But one we talked about last week, Doosan, it looks like Intake him is back to the DL. The Bears are so banged up. I still think they could go in free-for-all mode with the injury situation. They still haven't done anything about Ariel Miranda. So, last year's KBO MVP, are they going to bring him back and try to, see if he can salvage the rest of his season? Or are they going to get rid of him and go in a different direction? Something to watch for. But right now, Doosan's got to be a fade. SSG, it looks like they might get rid of Ivan Nova. He might be hurt right now. But they have a couple guys that could be coming back sooner than later in Sangwon Moon and Jonghoon Park, both of which could be nice starting pitcher options, as well as No, who it was the veteran from Lotte. I think he might be back soon. So SSG could be getting some guys back that would really help them out in the pitching department. And then Eric Jokic is going to be on. It looks like he's just going to probably miss one start. Kiwoom took him off the active roster. Looks like to give him some rest. But they were without Yasiel Puig over the weekend. I'm interested to see if they're without him again. But if they are, that's something to look for, because Kiwoom has kind of been just, they've had everything go right so far this season. So now, it's interesting to see if they start to pick up an injury or two, if they finally fade. NC Dino, they had a big injury over the weekend. I believe it was San left the game on Sunday, and Kunwoon Park, who was back this week, not back yet. The timetable for his return has been pushed out a little bit. So, NC without those two in the lineup, probably a fade. And then finally, Samsung, they out Jawook Koo, and they just lost their leadoff hitter over the weekend. Those are some important injuries as far as Samsung is concerned. So, just take that info for what it is. But like we've talked about so many times, when these teams start to lose guys, they have a tough time overcoming it. You saw it happen to Lotte earlier this year. You saw it happen to KT Wiz out of the gate, and look how well they're playing now that their guys are back. So that's the injury report, and hopefully you can use that to your advantage when you're handicapping KBO this week.
How about it? Adam Trigger reading the tea leaves and checking out the headlines so you don't have to. That's what Asian Baseball Today is all about. Brandon, I'm going to throw it your ways because, talking about doing work so that other people can profit. You've been tracking some run production numbers, and that was pretty good for us to start the weekend. You also wanted to dive into that and just see what you've been seeing in these past 7 days on these run production numbers. What are you seeing, Brandon?
Yeah, so it kind of goes along the lines of what Adam was just talking about. There's 3 teams that are scoring more than 5 runs a game in recent action, and there are 3 teams that are scoring 3 runs or less per game. And the 3 teams that are scoring 3 runs or less are the ones that Adam just talked about. The crappers, Hanwha, Doosan, and Samsung are all averaging 3 runs or less per game right now. And the 3 teams that are scoring 5 runs per game or more in current form are SSG, LG, and KT. So Adam, doing his Nostradamus there, said in a few shows ago, KT is going to get hot. They certainly have. LG is consistent. LG is just built like a good team, and they're just performing like a good team. Barring any injuries, they got the number 1 bullpen, and they've got the number 2 lineup. So, they're fast-tracked to the championship as far as I'm concerned. SSG started off like a firecracker, and they've kind of fizzled out a little bit, but you can only fizzle out so much when you have the basis, the nucleus of a really good team. So they might fall to 2 or 3 or something like that, but they're not going to free fall like the other teams. So important to note is Hanwha, Doosan, and Samsung. Their run production is way down right now. Not only is their run production down, but like Adam mentioned, their momentum is down. Their injuries are up, and all of the signs are pointing for those 3 teams to regress heavily. The other teams that I didn't mention, like NC and Kiwoom, they're just always toiling in mediocrity there. NC is catching a fire and moving up a little bit, but basically, this is very indicative of who's got momentum. So SSG, LG, and KT definitely have momentum, while Hanwha, Doosan, and Samsung definitely do not. So that's what I'm reading in current form.
There we go. And speaking of Samsung, we're going to get to them in just a moment here because they're going to be a part of our feature game. There's some potential money-making thoughts from Tokyo Brandon right there. And guys, like I mentioned, feature game here, we got Kiwoom Heroes taking on Samsung. And I think this is an interesting one just because Kiwoom's kind of keeping it pretty interesting there up at the top of the standings. But they're also coming off of a loss. So we got Kiwoom as a money line favorite here, taking on Samsung, total 9. Brandon, I want to go right back your way. You mentioned Samsung as one of those teams whose runs are down. Does that affect how you're going to be handicapping this game in our featured game for today?
Yeah, we were talking about how Samsung is a stay away team here, but I'm actually thinking going the other way in this particular game. We've got Tyler Epler going with Kiwoom, and Kiwoom actually has the makings of a really good team. They have a great bullpen. Their rotation, they've got 2 of the better starting pitchers in their rotation, and their hitting is very mediocre. But, like last year, KT won the whole thing with fairly mediocre hitting. They won it basically with their bullpen and their rotation. So it's possible to do that in the KBO. If you have a great bullpen, you can overcome power. So, but today, Tyler Epler worries me because I know he's got the foreign name, and the bookmakers automatically will make, if they see a foreign pitcher there who has decent stats, they'll automatically make that team a minus 160, minus 170, minus 180 right off the bat. But if you look at how he's performed, he's got 14 earned runs in his last 3 starts, and he rarely goes past the 5th inning. He worries me. I don't see him, doing well from going forward. And the Lions, although I did mention in my earlier segment that their run production is down, they still have the best hitter in Korea in Perella. So I think, looking at the other, Heo Young-dong is the starter for Samsung. He's actually surprisingly got pretty good numbers. And if you just erase the names and look at the numbers only, these pitchers are mirror image of each other. They both have a 1-2-3. Well, Epler has a 1-2-3 whip, while Heo has a 1-2-1 whip. Epler has a 3.86 ERA, while Heo has a 3.32 ERA. Granted, Heo, some of those numbers are skewed because he's been a reliever in some situations, and relievers generally are lucky because they go in one inning and come out, so their stats can be a little slanted. But I think Kiwoom's getting a lot more credit than they should here. If I was going to take this, I would think about Samsung plus 0.5 maybe in the first 5 innings. I don't trust their bullpen. Or maybe even a first 5 under in this game, because I think Hale can hold his own against the Kiwoom lineup. And like Adam said, Puig might be out. So, both starting pitchers pretty decent. I would be either looking under or take Samsung with some points.
So there's some first 5 leans from our guy Tokyo Brandon there. Adam, are you attacking this game a similar way, or how are you looking for value in our featured game for today?
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with Brandon here. So both of these teams are teams I'd want to bet against right now. In this spot, I think Samsung plus 1.5 is the play, because you're getting it at like minus 110 or minus 115. And like Brandon said, you're pretty much getting a free run because Epler's the pitcher for Kiwoom, and there's kind of a no-name on the mound for Samsung. But that no-name has actually not been bad, and Kiwoom hasn't seen him. So that's, to me, it gives him a little bit of a built-in value there with the fact that the Kiwoom lineup really hasn't had any exposure to him. Yasiel Puig, the way I would do this if you're awake, if he's out of the lineup, I would definitely throw something on Samsung plus 1.5, because even though his numbers, he's only hitting 232, but he's a real power threat, and there really aren't many legitimate power threats in this league that are Perella for Samsung is definitely one. But Puig has become a guy, 8 homers, 32 RBIs, but just having him in the lineup, he's a guy that teams have to prep for, they have to pitch around. And, to take him out of that lineup, in my opinion, is a big blow. So Samsung plus 1.5, definitely my lean. If Puig is out again here, I think it becomes even more of a strong bet. And I'm actually not all that worried about the Samsung bullpen, because they're off a day of rest. And, as long as Sang-Won Oh is rested, I'll take my shot with the Samsung bullpen, because if they do have a lead, he's 17 for 18 in save opportunities. The only time he really gets hit is in these, scenarios like over the weekend where they bring him in a 6-1 game, and it's not a save situation. I think he's at the point in his career where he's had a major league career. He gets a little bored when it's not a save on the line, but if the game's on the line, 17 for 18 in save situations. And the only I'll tell you, the reason the only reason this didn't make my client card is Jawook Koo is still out, and their leadoff hitter got hurt over the weekend, which I really think the Samsung lineup without those two is not great. But in this spot, they all seem to hit Epler good last time they played against him. So I'm with Brandon. I prefer Samsung plus 1.5 for the full game. But if you wanted to take a shot with the money line, I couldn't put you off that either. So Kiwoom would be fade material for me in this series. Or at least just early on in this series until they get Puig back. So Samsung plus 1.5, pretty strong lean here for me.
So it sounded like Adam's also saying set your alarm early, get your coffee ready to go, because if we get some more info on this game, that'll only heighten the look towards Samsung in this one. So again, Samsung looking towards in the first 5 potentially for Brandon, and Adam saying, hey, look at him for the full game, getting that 1.5 as well. So, guys, let's get into our series previews. And, Adam, I'm going to throw it right back your way since you're sticking with the KBO here. We'll have an NPB look with our guy Tokyo Brandon. But first, NC Dinos, like I said at the top, they're kind of starting to separate themselves a little bit from Hanwha at the bottom, but now they have a 3-game set against a team who's pretty damn hot as well in KT. They've won 7 out of their last 10. So both of these teams, you could argue, kind of finding their stride a little bit. Who do you think keeps that stride and stays hot when the NC Dinos and KT Wiz face off in your series preview?
The only team I could bet at any point in this series is KT. And it's not just because KT's been playing well. So NC, it really took a big blow over the weekend with Aesop San going out. Now, he could be back. I don't know the extent of his injury, but I think he might be out at least tomorrow, which is huge because I think they expected to get Kunwu Park back this week, and now he's probably out for at least another week. And with those two out of the NC lineup, this lineup is really not very good. I know they got it going a little bit last week, but it's not difficult to get it going when you're facing Hanwha, and that's who they faced over the weekend. NC, their pitching has been better, but man, you take those two out of the NC lineup, and I can see them really struggling to score runs against quality pitching, which is all they're going to see here from KT. The KT bullpen is so Sangbak I talked about him on Thursday's show, leaving the game with an injury. He's back. It was just I think he took a line drive, but he's fine. He's going to start today. And then you're going to have Wes Benjamin come back this weekend, which means will be available out of the bullpen. So their bullpen's getting to be full strength. And the KT bullpen has been awesome lately. They've been much better over the past month or so. NC is going to go with Jae-Hak Lee, and I'll actually save that matchup for best bets. But later in the week, you're going to get, so NC is going to probably have Chang-Mo Koo on Wednesday's game, the second game of this series. So NC will probably be way overvalued with him on the mound. You might get a great spot to jump in with KT plus 1.5 there because Jae-Sung Bae has been way undervalued all season. And I'm sure he will be again there going up against Chang-Mo Koo. And then Thursday, it looks like it's going to be Ko for KT. He's been lights out lately. And Ming Ji Song had a good outing last time for KT, but he has not been great. So I'll only look to bet KT in the series. I don't think there's a scenario where I'd be willing to jump in with NC. KT's rolling right now. They took 2 of 3 against Doosan over the weekend. I said I thought that they would do that, and they did. Hit a best bet with them on Sunday. So yeah, I would look for spots to jump in with KT. And as long as they don't burn up all their bullpen arms in a game, that's like the only thing that would keep me off KT is if they completely burn their bullpen one game, I might not take them the next game. But I think KT is going to just keep rolling right along. They're at home. They're just a better team, and they're going to play their way right up to the top of this league.
A series shaken out to be all KT as they're facing off against NC. There's your series breakdown here on a Monday edition of Asian Baseball Today from my guy, Adam Traeger. Brandon, Japanese baseball back in full swing after a brief little, what was that? Kind of like an all-star break or just, in between interleague play? Or why was the break?
They take a break for interleague play, and also this is the season where we get a lot of rain here in Japan. So they kind of take a week off for the rainy season and also for the transition back to regular league play from interleague. It's like a little spring break.
The league playoff that you want to get into here is the Yokohama Bay Stars facing off against the Yomiuri Giants. Do you see value coming into this one? After that kind of layoff, maybe somebody's shaking some dust off. How are you breaking this one down here on Asian Baseball Today?
Good Japanese pronunciation there, Dan. Very nice.
I'm learning.
So, So, we got the Yomiuri Giants and the Yokohama DNA Bay Stars. The way I'm going to approach this series, I'll just keep it nice, short, and sweet, is go with the overs. Not today, though. I like DNA's, I call him DNA. It's Yokohama DNA Bay Stars. So I like Yokohama's starter today. His name's Onuki. Pretty good. But these are two of the best lineups in Japan. especially Yokohama. They're raking right now. Yomiuri's bats are a little bit cold right now, but they just got off a series against the best pitching team in the league. So I expect them to heat up as well. I would lay off tonight's game, but for the next 2 games, after the bullpens get used a little bit, these are 2 of the worst bullpens in Japan, and they're 2 of the best lineups. And they have 2 of the best hitters in Maki and Okamoto in this series. Actually, between these 2 teams, if we look at Central League RBI leaders, 4 of the top 5 are in this series for RBIs. And then 3 of the 3 of the batting average leaders of the top 5 in the whole league are in this series. So we got some serious bats here. Starting pitching, today's starting pitchers, like I said, I would probably lay off today's game. But these 2 teams, when they get together, they've been together 7 times this season, and 5 of the games have gone over 6. So, when I keep track of my stats, I use 6.5 as my measuring stick, and how often do they go over 6.5? How often do they go under? So these 2 teams go over 6.5, 5 out of 7 times. Like I said, lay off today's, but for the next 2 matchups, tomorrow and the next day, if you see a 7 game total, take the over. If you see team totals of 3.5 for either team, but especially for DNA, Yokohama, I would take the over 3.5 as well. But lay off tonight.
So it could be some overtime as Yokohama and Yomiuri is facing off, but let's just learn from the night and see, is what Tokyo Brandon says. Brandon, I'm going to stay with you. It's everybody's favorite time here on the show. It's Best Bet, a little actionable info for you riding with us the entire episode, and we appreciate that. If you like what we're doing, just hit a little like, hit subscribe below. But Brandon, I'll do the promo for you because, man, just hot scratches the surface. Because if you want to go recent, last 3 days, number 1 in profit. That's not long enough for you. How about last 7 days, number 1 in profit? Well, Dan, that's such a small sample size. Well, how about 365 days? Number 1 at WagerTalk with profit is Tokyo Brandon. Got a best bet loaded for tonight. You see it there on the screen. Check out both of these guys there. Brandon, let's stay hot with these free best bets as well. We were getting some love on Twitter for you guys getting some free info for the folks. Let's keep it rolling. It's best bet time. Tokyo Brandon has the floor with that little samba or whatever he's doing over there.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Do. Where else are you going to get a Buster Poindexter reference at WagerTalk? Only here, folks. Only here. So I've been running hot, but who else has been running hot is the SoftBank Hawks. SoftBank Hawks have been running extremely hot. As a matter of fact, they've been averaging 4.67 runs a game the last week since the interleague break. 4.67 might not sound like a high score to you all out there, but considering Japanese game scores are generally 5.5, if you score 4.6 runs, you're going to win almost every game. So today, they're going against the Oryx Buffaloes. The Buffaloes have a pretty bad bullpen. They've got a good starter in Miyagi, but as a rookie, he came out on fire, but he's regressing a little bit. So far this season, his whip is 1.27, which sounds good, but in Japan, that's actually not very good. Most Japan starting pitchers, you want their whip to be in the 1.1 range, the 1.15, 1.17, something like that. His is 1.27, which is a little concerning, and he's actually walking. He's walking almost 2 guys per 9 innings. So I like the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. The team total was 2.5. I like them to clear that easily today. This is actually a 3% client play that I sent out to my clients about 45 minutes ago. If your book offers team totals in Japanese baseball, take the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks over 2.5. I like it a lot.
Team total going over the 2.5 for the SoftBank Hawks, according to Tokyo Brandon. Adam, going to throw it your way. We mentioned at the top, both of my guys here running hot. 5-1 KBO run for Adam Trigger. He's got a KBO play loaded with a 4% rating right this moment over at his page. You can grab it right when we're done here because you want to listen in. It's best bet time here on Asian Baseball Today, and the floor is yours, Trig.
Yeah, so 4% play is up. That's obviously by far my favorite thing on this KBO board. But for second best thing out there is just going to be what I've pretty much been doing the last couple weeks when I am looking for another play, and that's just to back the KT Wiz, who continue to cash tickets for me. And I'd look to them again here. Really, the only reason I'm not that I'm not playing KT pretty much every night is the books have caught up a little bit. Little bit pricey here for me at -140 or -145, but the matchup definitely leans toward KT for me. So similar to the game we talked about earlier, I'll say this: if Asap San is out of the lineup for NC, that would make this a very, very good bet at -140. So if you can check your lineups, take a look at that. But just in summary for the game, real quick, we talked about it earlier. The KT Wiz are firing on all cylinders. Sangbak is back from an injury, and he's been solid. And the KT bullpen has been one of the hottest in the league of late. So I've been riding KT pretty much regularly of late. I'm going to come back with them here, and we talked about it on this show over a month ago that this team was going to be really good once they got their complement of players back. Beck Ho-Kang back in the lineup. Anthony Alford made his KBO debut last week. So in my opinion, it's full steam ahead for KT. I have reason to believe NC regresses a little bit. And, this KT is an easy call for me in this matchup. And if NC's got lineup issues tomorrow, I think it makes an even better bet. So KT Wiz, lay the juice. They probably win this game.
And remember, folks, as I always say, if you win the bet, the price is $0.
Don't have to pay vig if you're winning the bet. It's that simple. And, yep, there you go. KT Wiz on the money line. And also Tokyo Brandon looking at the SoftBank Hawks team total over 2.5. If you've been cashing with the guys, if you've been having fun watching the show, what's a better way to say thanks than head on over to these guys' page? $18. That's all you need to get both of their best plays tonight. A 5%er for Tokyo Brandon and a 4%er for Adam Trigger. That does it for us. We will be back Thursday, and until then, make sure that you are getting in your plays quick before lines are moving. Make sure you throw us a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you Thursday on Asian Baseball Today.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.